Hey guys, Jerry with Computer Pro. Check out this. I saw Monday.com mentioned when we were asking about CRMs and so forth. We're trying it out. We have so much going on at the shop. I gotta figure out something to keep straight. And there's no, one ring to rule them all, so to speak. Like try use HubSpot. It's great for marketing and project work, but for tasks and stuff, um, I needed something different. And so one of our users and I were sharing. She's kind of like an admin assistant to me, kind of now. And we were doing. Well, actually, one of our other techs handles MSP renewals. This is just some bogus data in here because we're on a trial. But especially for residential, we've got as far as the MSP, they if they do a 6 month, which a lot of times we sell bundled with a PC or something like that. So they're either on a 6 month, 12 month. The goal is to get them on monthly. However, the 6 month and 12 month, the downside is we have to track it so they're not on it afterwards. And we in our actual in Synchro we put them down as like a date, like 0820, which means they expire August of 2020, or in this case 21. Um, and then the person's name, John Doe, and their phone number and so forth. And that's how they're kind of entered in the system. Maybe not the phone number, but as far as this goes. And then what they have, I think there's another code that tells if they have a 6 or 12 month. And then we sort it by this column, and then the ones that are renewing soonest show up on top, which works okay. But Monday is just a simple task manager. You can view it as a Kanban board that you can drag around. You can view it as a calendar view when things are due. But the power behind it, I didn't realize, is phenomenal. I'm not a programmer by any stretch of the imagination, right? But um, check out this. There's these automations that I did, and automations are. I'll just go through a bogus one, but if I do a custom one, look at this. When this happens, do something. When this date is passed, expires, move item to this group. And I mean, basically it does anything you basically want. And how I have it set up is basically this. Once this date hits and this person is expired, so let's just say Mike Smith, he's on the 12-month plan. It shouldn't say this then. I'll just say Mike Smith test, okay? So once his date expires, he'll automatically move in this. I'm just manually moving him now, so we don't have to wait. But he'll automatically wind up in this column. Once he's in expired, notice how everything was stripped out. Needs contact, not yet. Choose plan. The only thing that remained was his previous plan. So when we talk to him and he says, well, what did I have? We could say, well, you were on a 12-month plan. It did expire. The cost is this, da 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 da. And then our one tech that calls these people, he uses this column here. He left a message, and now anybody that looks at it knows that this guy has a message left. You can add conversation stuff, like if I need to do an update, left message to call shop, whatever. It shows up in a nice thing here, okay? And maybe he's not answering, so everybody can basically see then, it just shows a nice status, and it's shareable by everybody. And this is cool. So let's say we contacted him, okay? And he's deciding. Okay, so now we leave it there. He calls back the next day and says, okay, I'm going to do it, but I just want to do a 6-month this time. Or we try to get him on monthly so we don't have to do this. But let's say he says he wants to do a 6-month plan. So our tech goes in. He says the renewed. He chose a 6-month plan. And it remains here because it's not all done, updated in Synchro, because you have to update the actual RMM and the point of sale part of it, right? So once we do that and it's all done, then he goes in here and says done, and watch what happens. When I click done, takes a second, and then boom, it automatically threw him via this programming, this automation, it threw him in the 6-month plan, and it automatically changed his expiration date so that it all flows automatically next time. And it put him in the 6-month plan, and it changed his previous plan to 6 months, which these should match once they're down here, and I'll explain why in a second. So basically, it in a nutshell, it moved him to the correct group, and it put the correct date. So let's say fast forward in time, this date now arrives. He'll automatically be thrown back in here, and these will strip out, right? Except for his previous plan, which was a 6-month plan. That's why these match. Remember, he was 12. He re-upped for a 6. And all this does is when we look at this, they'll actually, well, unless he's calling people, let's say that's there. And okay. So when we look at this, we have to know what he was on, because a lot of times they ask, So yeah, so by this automation handles everything. So what that does for us is these will fill up. There's a bunch of 6-monthers, a bunch of 12, a bunch of monthly, da da da. Once these expire, we don't have to go and sort through dates anymore, and they'll automatically wind up in the expired column. So he just has one grouping to call from. And then once the things get filled out, he contacted them, they renewed. This time he does a monthly plan, and he's done. Once he does that, there's nothing else he has to do. It automatically removed it and threw him in the monthly plan. So we know that he's on monthly now. He came from a 6-month. Well, actually, I have this program to just go monthly all the way across. I could probably leave this so we know what he was on before. But at any rate, it automatically moves them in the right groups, and it automatically shows when they're expired and puts them in a nice column to basically call. So Monday is very, 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 very powerful. I've only played with it a couple days basically, so I'm just getting into it. But once I found this, I realized, man, there's a lot of other stuff we can do that'll help also with projects. But I just want to share it with you guys. I think this is pretty cool and going to work and save us a couple steps. So Monday.com.